This fourth generation Seat Leon looks a promising package for family hatchback segment buyers. It's still good looking and sporty to drive, but now it also gets a completely rejuvenated cabin with a whole fresh generation of screen-based media technology incorporating cutting-edge infotainment. There's also some fresh, new electrified engine options, and the car now has access to more sophisticated drive systems and additional safety tech. If you'd been overlooking this Spanish contender, it now deserves a second glance.
What if you could take everything that's good about the drive dynamics of a Volkswagen Golf, the superb ride, the excellent refinement, the exemplary at-the-wheel ergonomics, the smooth, efficient engines, and replicate it all in a better value package with a slightly sportier feel? Such has always been the appeal of the Seat Leon. And in that regard, not much is different with this fourth generation version. It still steers and turns in a little more sharply than its Golf, Skoda Octavia and Audi A3 VW Group family hatch cousins that share the same engineering and MQB platform. And as before, most mainstream versions continue to persist with an old school torsion beam rear suspension setup, which isn't to suggest that nothing has changed here. Quite the contrary. Take the engine range. Specify an auto gearbox with either the volume 110 PS 1 litre TSI Evo 3-cylinder petrol unit or the 150 PS 1.5 litre TSI Evo 4-cylinder petrol power plant, and you'll get the brand's latest eTSI mild hybrid electrified technology. There's also now a PHEV full hybrid plug-in Leon, the e-hybrid, which uses a 150 PS 1.4 litre TSI petrol engine mated to a 6-speed DSG auto gearbox and an 85 kilowatt electric motor powered by a 13 kilowatt hour lithium-ion battery that, when fully charged, can deliver a WLTP rated all-electric driving range of up to 36 miles. Most Leon customers, though, will be wanting an engine of the more conventional kind, which, if you want to stay with manual transmission, is what you'll have to have. With a stick shift fitted, in addition to conventional versions of the two TSI petrol engines just mentioned, you can opt for a detuned 130 PS version of that 1.5 litre TSI Evo petrol unit, which is actually what we're trying here. An engine capable of WLTP rated figures of up to 52.3 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle and up to 124 grams per kilometre of CO2. You'll also be offered the option of diesel power. There are two versions of the latest, cleaner, more efficient VW Group 2-litre TDI twin dosing unit, offering either 115 or 150 PS. At the top of the range lies the Cupra Leon hot hatch variant, which can be had with either an uprated 245 PS version of that 1.4 litre plug-in hybrid powertrain we just mentioned, or with a conventional 2 litre TSI petrol unit developing either 245 PS in front-driven conventional hatch form or 310 PS in four-wheel drive estate guise. Seat set out to deliver a bolder, more purposeful look for this fourth generation Leon, yet a shape clearly evolved through recognisable brand DNA. It was important for designer Alejandro Mesonero Romanos and his team to get this right, because visual style was apparently one of the key reasons why people bought earlier versions of this car. As before, there's a body style choice between either this 5-door hatch or an alternative estate. The brand's bolder intentions are certainly very evident here at the front, with set-back angular LED headlamps reminiscent of a Star Wars stormtrooper. From the side, those familiar with the previous generation car might notice this one's 86mm gain in length in this hatch form. It's 93mm longer in estate guise. The rear is marked out by this Porsche-style coast-to-coast full-width array of rear LED tail lights, which artfully disguise this Mark IV model's 16mm reduction in width. How much of this kind of progressive, characterful approach will be evident in the cabin? Quite a lot is the answer.
it's certainly a lot more sophisticated inside than before. This car, like its VW Group cousins, having gained a major dose of advanced screen technology, here housed in more angular, chiselled fascia design. The seats are now more supportive, everything falls easily to hand, and there's also a bit more of a premium feel this time round. The way the window ledges and the leading edge of the dash together form an unbroken crescent is almost Jaguar-like. Beyond entry-level trim, you'll be served up the electrical fest, that is, the SEAT Digital Cockpit, a fancy way of describing that the central screen is of the big 10-inch kind and that instrument binnacle dials have been replaced by a 10.25-inch screen. Assuming you avoid entry-level SE trim, you'll be served up the electrical fest, that is, the SEAT Digital Cockpit, a fancy way of describing that this central display is of the big 10-inch kind and that instrument binnacle dials have been replaced by a 10.25-inch screen. This centre-stack Navi system monitor has the brand's full-length smartphone mirroring, plus there's a built-in eSIM that enables you to create a Wi-Fi hotspot and enjoy online connectivity, which allows you to access online radio and benefit from over-the-air system updates. Plus, the standard 3D sat-nav system can be embellished with live traffic information. Unfortunately, it must also cope with all the climate functions too, controls that we think would be better separated out with physical controls. The 10.25-inch configurable driver instrument cluster, meanwhile, offers a fully customisable display with a choice of different layouts and full-screen mapping if you want it. Let's take a seat in the back, which by and large is what you get. An extra 49mm of rear seat legroom, meaning that a pair of 6-foot adults could be accommodated here in reasonable comfort, providing front seat occupants don't slide their seats fully back. Let's finish this segment by taking a look in the boot, the catch for which, as usual, is activated by pushing this centre tailgate badge. Your SEAT salesperson may well be keen to reference the fact that the 380-litre space provided here, exactly as before and the same as a Golf, is around 40 litres more than you'd get in a rival Ford Focus. Pushing forward the conventional 60-40 split rear bench frees up 1,210 litres across a load area that's virtually flat with the seats folded. This Leon has long been a strong but often overlooked contender in the family hatchback segment, and it's been usefully improved in this fourth generation guise. Overall, on a pure value versus quality basis, this Leon has long been the pick of the Volkswagen Group offerings in this sector, and that also makes it one of the key segment benchmarks outside the Wolfsburg family of brands, which in turn makes it a very good car indeed.